The inaugural Boeing Red Tails Classic is personal to me. It's more than a matchup between Tuskegee University and Fort Valley State University. My beloved father, Colonel Lawrence E. Roberts, was a proud member of the Tuskegee Airmen. 922 brave pilots, also known as the Red Tails, fought in World War II. The Boeing
industry was hurting, but I done bandaged her up. Now I got too sick with it. Now we done found us.
You know, I mean, here comes.
Both of my great-grandfathers have been a part of that study. My roots in environmental health come from my great-grandfathers. They were sharecroppers, and then later they were able to own land for their family for generations to come. My ancestors' connection to the land has given me a strong care for our environment and how that environment influences human health. I am a fierce advocate for equitable treatment for all. The ways in which COVID-19 ravaged Black communities showed that we have underlying vulnerabilities when something like a pandemic hits. The path from tragedy to triumph travels along the path of learning.
Industry was hurting, but I done bandaged her up. Now I got too sick with it. Now we done found us.
You know, I mean, here comes Monmouth, the defending champs. Now they come in at North Carolina A&T for homecoming.
Advice to Monmouth for homecoming at A&T.
You're giving advice to Monmouth?
Yes. Very much needed advice for Monmouth for homecoming at A&T. Leave the band at home. But at homecoming, you can just get the whole 20 minutes to A&T.
Hey, don't sleep. Monmouth has been practicing neck all summer.
When we see Dr. Lee get out there on the field, we know something.
You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN SportsWrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
The inaugural Boeing Red Tails Classic is personal to me. It's more than a matchup between Tuskegee University and Fort Valley State University. My beloved father, Colonel Lawrence E. Roberts, was a proud member of the Tuskegee Airmen. 922 brave pilots, also known as the Red Tails, fought in World War II. The Boeing Red Tails Classic is more than a celebration of HBCUs. It's a reminder of the Tuskegee Airmen's valor and sacrifice, the first class of Black fighter pilots who trained at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama during the height of Jim Crow, fighting for America, while in many ways America fought right back against them. This inaugural Boeing Red Tails Classic, this football game, is for them. And it's quite special that this game, which will be played at the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama, opens the 2021 college football season on Sunday, September 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. When you watch this game, please remember its larger meaning, that it's for a group who advocated for themselves while still facing prejudice and discrimination in the segregated Army. The Tuskegee Airmen story hardly gets told enough. I, proud daughter of a Tuskegee Airman, join others who champion their legacy and how they influence generations of Black cultural and political leaders.
Both of my great-grandfathers have been a part of that study. My roots in environmental health come from my great-grandfathers. They were sharecroppers, and then later,
Welcome to Knights of the Roundtable, HBCU-Pro Sports Media Association presentation. We are back for season 2 of our show. This is a show where we go around the HBCU diaspora and talk about the people, the news, and the events surrounding HBCUs and their athletics. Fellas, how's it going today? Joining me today from Urban Media today is Trevin A. Jones, president of the HBCU-Pro Sports Media Association. How's it going, my brother?
Man, it's going, family. As long as you can see me, you know I'm good. It's when you don't see me is when I want you to worry. But you see me, so I'm good. I'm ready to roll. Let's make it happen.
All right. Also joining me today is my partner in crime from the BCSN SportsWrap, Mr. Brian Fulford. What's going on, B?
I'm doing great. I'm moving up in the world, Trevin. I made the debut of season 2, which is good. Yeah, I was I was the second episode of season 1, so I'm moving up in the world.
I have nothing to do with that.
I'm just pointing it out. Just pointing it out.
Not long as you don't move out, my brother, we're gonna be all right.
I appreciate you.
All right. So what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna break this show up into 4 different segments. Make sure you stay tuned today. If you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, go ahead, text everybody, call everybody. We are going to release our top 10 poll for the mid-major and the major schools. Mid-major are what we consider Division II NAIA schools, and the major are our D1 schools, our SWAC, our BAC, and our 3 schools that do not participate in a traditional HBCU conference. But you're going to have to wait a few minutes before we get to that. We'll get to those after we get to our first break. But before we get into our first break, we're going to get into some news of the day and news of the week. We're going to start off with Trevin A. Jones. And Trevin, what you got for us to discuss today?
Oh man, I was just looking, and Mr. Ed Hill sent me this information as well. Mr. Ed Hill Jr., former sports information director at Howard University, talking about the enrollment for HBCUs. And I did a little bit of research as well. The enrollment is up. For example, Bowie State is expecting an 8% increase on enrollment this fall, whereas Howard is expecting more than 15% of an increase on their enrollment this fall, which could be I think from what I saw in the news and what I heard, it's probably the largest incoming freshman class in like 30 years. So, I mean, kudos to that. And I don't think it's just hype. I think that there are people who didn't know that HBCUs existed, if you could believe it or not. And I think they're recognizing that, okay, the programs that are being taught and the actual experience and opportunities there. And I think with the more exposure on Black Lives Matter and, HBCU this and that, even in the sports world, as you know, with new coaches coming to the league, I think there's more recognition out there. And I think people just became aware.
It's great to see that that students are finding HBCUs once again. The three of us happened to find HBCUs. I remember when I enrolled at FAMU. I was there a year or two before you was, Brian. And at that point in time, we were the largest freshman class to have enrolled at Florida A&M University. Do you remember back in your day whether you guys passed us?
I don't know if we passed you. I wasn't really paying attention to all the numbers like that, but I will say I know the influence of the entertainment industry had a heavy impact on the growth of HBCUs in the 90s. Not only you have shows, obviously, like we've talked about many a time.
Different world.
The Cosby Show, Different World, the way that hip hop embraced HBCUs. And there was even a consciousness in the music by some artists that represented HBCUs. Before it got gangster and grimy, there was a lot of consciousness and thought into why it was important to attend a HBCU. We were embracing and celebrating our history. And so that was a good thing. Now I don't think the schools were ready to sort of add on or embrace the marketing or the marketability that was there. And so over time, the next generation kind of lost. Music changed. The culture, society changed a little bit. It got a little glitzy, and everything changed a little bit. But like you brought up, Trevin, things have sort of made a turn over the last few years. And so now it'll be interesting as HBCUs are doing more in terms of their marketing, their marketability. They're more conscious and aware of their brand. It'll be interesting to see how HBCUs draw more individuals. It won't just be on, sports alone. It won't just be on entertainment alone. It will be on the backs of, some of the numbers, politicians, the medical community, the educators and things of that nature who have made significant strides in the marketplace, in the world, in the country. And so I think that's what's going to be the draw, because it just has to be. It can't just be athletics alone, because that's one thing that has changed and gone in a completely different direction. The gap between the haves and have-nots have gotten so much bigger than 30 years ago, 25 years ago. And so, how are you going to balance that? Well, you got to balance it with some substance. And so I think that's where our colleges are really going to have to be well-rounded in that respect.
You bring up a point. It's not just athletics, but athletics have a lot to do with the increased enrollment. First of all, a lot of these schools have added sports to their coffers in order to get kids to attend those universities. Yeah, they're giving out the scholarships and they're doing the fundraising, but the only reason, let's take Bluefield State, who added 12 sports this year. The only reason they've had 300 students who enroll at Bluefield State was because of those athletic programs that they added. So yeah, it's not necessarily just sports, but sports do play a role. Look at A&T. A&T, when their football team became relevant again in North Carolina, look at their enrollment. Now they're the largest HBCU in the nation. Go back to our days at FAMU. Good football program. We came from the Kent Riley era into the Billy Joe era. And next thing you know, we had enrolled increases. Take Southern, Pete Richardson. Southern had this big enrollment increase during the time when Pete Richardson was winning all those national championships for Southern. So it's not just athletics, but athletics do help.
And you've also got, it's funny you mentioned Bluefield State, because I wonder, with all of the increase in sports, the population of the student body, what does that look like? But, I think also what's happening now is you have more, what I'll be interested to see over the next few years, how does the influx of money that has come into a lot of universities, whether it be through philanthropic means, or we've seen schools that are winning lawsuits. For example, the schools in the state of Maryland who are winning lawsuits that, the government had held back money or did not give those state university money, monies that they were owed, that they should have been giving as state universities. And it's not just in Maryland. I know there's other states where that's happening too. So what will the influx of cash mean, not only to academics, and once that money goes into academics, does that open up the coffers for athletics? I think that's the trickle down, to kind of bring it back to sports a little bit. When all that money comes in, when those millions go into academics and research and things like that, does that mean that other monies will now become available to athletics that weren't previously, because you were trying to make sure you took care of academics and athletics? You were taking, not necessarily you were taking money from one spot, but you were dividing the money up a certain way. Well, now once you have an influx of money, it's not that you're taking the new money and putting it in athletics, but the old money, the money that was already there, are you now putting that into athletics? Is that going to increase facilities? Is it going to increase scholarship opportunities, growing sports, things of that nature? So that's what'll be interesting to see over the next couple of years.
Trevin, last word.
No, I agree. I agree with everything that you're saying. I'm thinking that the focus is always going to be on the education, but most definitely. But now, I think that to add on to what you were saying about sports, when you have many HBCU alum or even current students who are Olympians. This was an Olympic year. So you got that exposure as well. So I think that exposure, when you see these young athletes performing on a major stage like that worldwide, it actually puts notoriety out there for your institution. North Carolina A&T, you spoke about the football team, but the track team is phenomenal. I mean, the track team is one of the top track teams in the country, regardless of what type of school you're talking about. So, I mean, having things like that come across, cross your path, and you get to see that, even people who aren't aware become even more aware. So yeah, and I'm hoping, like you said, Brian, that as the influx of funds starts to continue to coming in, that it helps some of our institutions that were having, a hard time, even trying to survive. Look at Cheney. I mean, Cheney is not doing any sports or anything like that. So, I mean, it's like, hey, we still need help. And I'm hoping that this new influx brings people to institutions like that as well.
All I'm going to say is I hope everybody has their capital plan in place, because when you bring all these students on, you don't want, and Lord forgive Clark, who got kind of caught behind the 8 ball there. They got a little slow with their construction. Some things happened and the dorms weren't ready. So we hope that doesn't happen to a lot of students, and prayers go out to those students at Clark, and hope they got everything handled, because I do remember back in my days at FAMU, there was a similar situation at FAMU where dorms weren't ready and they had to put students up in the hotels. Fellas, what we're going to do right now, we're getting ready to take our first break. Coming up after the break, we're going to get into the polls. Trevor's going to break down a little bit about the polls, why we had the polls, and then we'll release the top 10 for the MidMajor schools. That's the Division II NAIA school. Right to the Roundtable, HBCU-Pro Sports Media presentation. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime! Get ready for Cracker Barrel National Battle of the Bands, presented by Pepsi Zero Sugar. Sunday, August 29th, 4 o'clock, NRG Stadium in Houston, featuring the hottest HBCU marching bands: Southern University, Langston University, Tennessee State, Norfolk State, North Carolina A&T State, Texas Southern, Bethune-Cookman, and Jackson State. Don't miss the battle on the field and the stands with scholarships over $500,000 in counting for our HBCUs. It's an HBCU experience you don't want to miss, with a weekend of activities with the Cracker Barrel Step and Stroll, Pepsi Zero Sugar Emerging Experience, Esports Masterclass and Gaming Tournament, and the free Pepsi Zero Sugar College and Health Fair. Tickets start at get $15. Get them right now at nationalbattleofthebands.com. It's the Cracker Barrel National Battle of the Bands. Sunday, August 29th, NRG Stadium, Houston. Gates open up at 2:30. Also sponsored by Cricket and HEB. nationalbattleofthebands.com. Get your tickets right now.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your fam.
It's the show where we take you inside the game before the game begins. It's the pregame. With your host, Charles Bishop and Neely. So get ready because we pregame harder than the other show's party. It's the pregame. The HBCU football experience is back in Atlanta on August 28th. College Game Day, the Coca-Cola Fan Experience, the Battle of the Bands, the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge will have it all. Visit MEACSWACChallenge.com for more information.
Welcome back to Nights of the Roundtable, HBCU-Pro Sports Media presentation, presented right here on the Black College Sports Network. Well, fellas, everybody has a poll. Why not us? So
that was a great sell job right there.
I like the way he said that. Why not us?
Let me rephrase that. You know, the HBCU-Pro Sports Media Association has a great cross-section of media members from throughout the nation. So we decided to get together and to vote. This is the Black Media Poll. Just like you have the media poll for the traditional schools, now we have the Black Media Poll. Trevin, you want to get into a little bit more about the polls before we release the numbers?
First and foremost, the HBCU-Pro Sports Media Association. The purpose is to transform and empower the culture of the media by providing informative broadcast stories, rich contextual reporting, and inspirational photography of the marginalized by educating, inspiring, and informing a global community. That being said, to break it down in layman's terms and keeping it simple, we're all about getting exposure for HBCUs and the community. With this being football season, everybody loses their mind in football season, especially after a COVID football less season, shorter periods, shorter games. And it's always exciting to be able to rank your favorite HBCU and actually have a poll which consists of people throughout the platform as far as the media is concerned. So it's not just we're throughout the country, as a matter of fact. So you're not just getting, a bias from one area, the next area, that type of thing. The key to this and the reason and the main purpose for this, to answer you directly, AD, is exposure. To get exposure for these programs, exposure for the people that you don't normally see on a regular basis. There's teams out there that are doing great things that you normally don't hear about. Well, this poll is going to make sure that you hear about the entire football platform as far as HBCUs are concerned. And then we'll, take it upon ourselves to rank 1 through 10, mid-major and major.
And as I hit the wrong button as I was transitioning back from that single shot to the multiple shot, that's the beauty of live, being live. But
I kind of like the flow there, man. It was cool.
Just kind of telling everybody where our voters are from. We've got voters in Texas, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, Carolina, Pennsylvania, DC. So we've got a great cross section of voters, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing a few states where we've got some of our voters.
Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken, Texas, Florida.
I said Florida.
Oh,
Yep.
got it. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna leave Brian out. I know he's in Florida, and I know he's a voter. We're not gonna tell how he voted unless you caught from yesterday's episode of SportsWrap. We did tell how we individually voted, but everybody's vote is secret. So this is what I want you to do. If you listen to us on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, chime in the chat. Give us your top 10. And once we reveal our top 10, tell us if you agree, if you disagree with the media writers for Black college sports, i.e. the HBCU-Pro Sports Media Association. So, fellas, without further ado, we're going to go with the 6 through 10 in the mid-major poll. Receiving votes coming in, and these are 2019 records that I am going to be giving you. 6-3, Kentucky State. Fort Valley State came in with 6-4, and Morehouse 4-6. They were in the receiving votes category. So now moving on to number 10. Number 10 is going to be Virginia State University with 25 votes. Langston comes in and they were 74 in 2019, 73 in conference. Langston comes in at number 9. 8-2, 71 in conference. Tuskegee comes in at number 8, 5-5, 4-2 in conference. Virginia Union comes in at number 7. They were 73, 5-2 in conference. And at number 6 was Fayetteville State, 8-3, 6-1 in conference. And
can I act up and back you up real quick?
Go ahead.
Because I'm going to have a lot to say about these polls and the way everything was set up. So is this where I get to act up and actually put in my personal opinion, even though the votes are in and the people, the teams are where they're supposed to be? Can I just point some things out that Trevin Jones is not feeling, or Trevin A. Jones is, or can I not do that? Do I have to be quiet and not be opinionated?
Well,
okay,
first and foremost, I want to see the graphic. Where's the graphic at?
For some reason, the graphic is not pulling up.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. But Pennington up there in the Mountain East Conference is their proper due initially, but West Virginia State's in the number 10. They were 7-4 in 2019, and they opened up against Shippensburg. They only picked to finish 5th in their conference, so that's going to be interesting. Like I said, they're in the Mountain East, but they've always performed well. Those are one of those schools that really don't get a lot of recognition. So I just wanted to back up AD and make sure that we give everybody the recognition that they're due. West Virginia State's in there at number 10.
My biggest beef is with Langston.
You got a beef with Langston?
Yeah, Langston all the way down at number 9, 8-2. I mean, has anybody seen what they've done in the NAIA? I mean, I know NAIA does not get respect, but Langston still 8-2, 7-1. I think they should be ranked a little bit higher.
Me too. Coach Quentin Morgan has been doing his thing out there in Langston. If people haven't been paying attention, he had a great running back like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. That was just burning up the field. They're in the Sooner Athletic Conference now. So they were in the Red River League conference before, and I think their initial year in the Sooner Athletic Conference, they actually won the conference title or got a share of it, because they've been in the playoffs the past 3 years, right, Brian?
They've had a share or been in the hunt to win that conference. The new Sooner Athletic for each of the. Let's see, it's only been around. That conference has been around for like 3 years. So.
Right.
They've been in a hunt, and they've been in the hunt every year. So, I would question how Tuskegee is ahead of them, but that might have pinned some people's feelings. But I'm just saying,
it hurt my feelings, and I like Coach Willie Slater at Tuskegee.
It's not about like. It's about.
I will say this: everybody knows I am a Tuskegee alum, but
that's right.
I did not put Tuskegee that high in my ranking, but I did vote for Tuskegee.
Yeah.
Tuskegee was 10 on my personal ranking.
Yeah, I mean, after they had a 5-5 season in 2019, I mean, that's pretty understandable.
And the hard part with this particular division is practically none of these teams played last year. Most of them didn't play in the spring or at all. So, really what we're basing it on is who we saw or who we see is coming back from 2019.
Right.
And then the reputation of the coaches and the programs in the years before. So we can find out within about 2 weeks how right or wrong we are with these teams real quick.
Yeah, I think we're going to find out in the first week, actually, Brian. Was from August 28th to September 5th. I think we're going to find out real fast because there's some good games coming up in the next 2 weeks. I think starting this Saturday and then next weekend. So I think we'll find out real soon. Maybe not even 2 weeks, if we're all hitting the nail on the head or not.
All right, let's move to the top 5. Coming in at number 5 is the Rams of Bowie State. They were 7-4 in the 2019 season. Coming in at number 4, Virginia State, 8-2, 6-1 in conference. All right, well, you guys have already seen it, so I don't know if I can't tease you guys with it. Number 3 is Savannah State, coming in at 73. They were 5-0 in the SIAC. Number 2 is Miles at 9-2, 6-1 in the SIAC. And the unanimous number 1 team in our mid-major poll is Bowie State at 11-1, 7-0 in 2019. And there you have it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, Coach Damon Wilson's doing his job. He's doing his thing at Bowie State. I mean, I'm gonna call him the quarterback whisperer. I mean, I think he's working with Jerome Johnson this season. But you know, he's had some great quarterbacks in the past. And then Coach Wilson comes up with these players. And if I may put in a shameless plug here, every year I do a TAJ Talented 10th All-American team. Coach Wilson was our Coach of the Year in 2019. But he has Joshua Pryor, who was a TAJ T10 Black College All-American, who's a defensive lineman, awesome player. And then he has Dimitri Morcel, defensive back, who was also made our All-American team in 2019. Now, with 2 people like that, one on the defensive side of the ball, and then you have a quarterback that you're working with again, I mean, I expect them to finish at the top of the mid-major rankings, because I know when we did a poll, which was just all-inclusive, Bowie State was right up there with Florida A&M, North Carolina, and A&T, if I may put that out there.
Well, we're going to find out about Bowie State right off the bat. Obviously, going and playing Delaware State, you know, I think anytime you got a D2 playing a D1, you know, you're looking to see how those scholarship numbers really matter. You know, but I think Bowie State has done a great job of building such a strong program, and given who's coming back, that's really going to be interesting to see if they can impose their will that they usually impose on other people. Can they do that to Del State? You know, and I think that'll be interesting to see right off the bat. And you know, Virginia State's got a tough game right off the bat. They play 6th-ranked Lenore-Ryan, but that game is at home, you know, so Virginia State gets a home game against a nationally ranked opponent. So, I mean, just imagine if they can actually win that ball game. And I think Savannah State that's a good squad. And, you know, they're going to be everyone's sexy choice in a lot of polls and a lot of predictions and preseason analysis of the SIAC, but week 1 will tell the tale as they play Valdosta State, who just won. I think Valdosta won a national championship 2019, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't that long
18.
ago.
I think that was 18.
2-3 years ago. It wasn't that long ago, but they traditionally have a good program, and Valdosta is not shying away from playing HBCU. So there's a recruiting battle in that South Georgia, West Georgia, or East Georgia area for Savannah State and Valdosta. And so if Savannah State pulls that game off with a victory on the road, that'll go a long way towards setting them up for a great season, especially when the playoffs come around, as that is a regional matchup.
All right, now we've gone through the mid-major schools. Coming up after this break, we're going to get into the larger schools, the major schools, as we'd like to call them. Stay tuned. Let us know what you think out there. I need to see you on Facebook. I need to see you on YouTube. Let us know what you think. Knights of the Roundtable, HBCU Pro Sports Media presentation. We'll be right back after this message.
The inaugural Boeing Red Tails Classic is personal to me. It's more than a matchup between Tuskegee University and Fort Valley State University. My beloved father, Colonel Lawrence E. Roberts, was a proud member of the Tuskegee Airmen. 922 brave pilots, also known as the Red Tails, fought in World War II. The Boeing Red Tails Classic is more than a celebration of HBCUs. It's a reminder of the Tuskegee Airmen's valor and sacrifice, the first class of black fighter pilots who trained at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama during the height of Jim Crow, fighting for America, while in many ways America fought right back against them. This inaugural Boeing Red Tails Classic, this football game, is for them. And it's quite special that this game, which will be played at the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama, opens the 2021 college football season on Sunday, September 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. When you watch this game, please remember its larger meaning, that it's for a group who advocated for themselves while still facing prejudice and discrimination in the segregated Army. The Tuskegee Airmen story hardly gets told enough. I, proud daughter of a Tuskegee Airman, join others who champion their legacy and how they influence generations of black cultural and political leaders.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Texas Southern takes on Prairie View A&M for the Nick Durley Traveling Trophy and the Labor Day Classic on September 4th. Tickets available online at tsusports.com/LBC tickets.
Welcome back to Knights of the Roundtable. Well, you've heard it thus far. We have talked about the mid-major teams. Now it's time for us to start talking about the major teams. But before we do that, need to shout out a couple of people. Chuck Hunt, always checking out something from the Black College Sports Network from Monroe, Louisiana. Appreciate you, Chuck, for tuning in to us. Montre Bennett, thank you for choosing in all the way from, how far are you from Delray Beach, Brian?
Where's Delray Beach?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Not close enough to you then.
There you go. Not close enough.
I got you. She's checking in from Delray Beach. And over on YouTube, James Little is checking in with us also. He asked for us to get into point spreads, Brian. You know, that's right up you and mine alley. I told him make sure he checks out our SportsWrap on Thursday, that we'll be definitely talking about point spreads and some of the lines on our Thursday shows.
Nothing like some SIAC D2 point spread. If you find a book
how wrong we are. Shout out Brian Johnson, Michael Lee, Dale Francis, Willie Davis, Patrick Coleman, Frank Crutcher. Just a few of the people checking in with us. Let us know what you think about those polls. And Bennett says that's Palm Beach County, Brian. That's over on the coast. You're Central Florida, so that might be why you don't know where that is.
I got to get out that way. 3 hours away.
There you go. All right, y'all. It's time for the major poll. Now, coming in, receiving votes, Trevin, your alma mater, Norfolk State. They went 5-7 last time they played in 2019, 4-4 in conference. And our good buddy, Dr. Cavill's alma mater, Prairie View, comes in also receiving votes. They were 6-5, 4-3 back in 2019, but they did go 2-1 during this past spring season. So they're in the receiving votes category. All right, here we go. Number 10. The Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman, they went 7-4, 5-3 in 2019. Coming in at number 9, kind of surprised me when I saw this one. Grambling, despite going 0-4 in the spring, they went 6-5, 4-3 back in 2019. Jackson State comes in at number 8. They went 4-3 this spring. They went 4-8, 3-4 back in 2019. Coming in at number 7 are the Jaguars of Southern. They went 5-1 this spring. They went 8-5, 6-1 in conference back in 2019. And at number 6, the defending Western SWAC champions, UAPB, comes in at number 6. They went 4-1 this spring. They were 6-5, 3-4 in conference back in 2019. And there you have it. Our 6 through 10.
So the East Coast gets no love. Okay, I have a problem. If I could speak up, you guys just shut me up if you want to shut me up. But right now I'm feeling, and I'm not familiar with this phrase, but I'm going to say it for probably only the third time I've ever said it. I'm feeling some kind of way because every team that you just mentioned is a SWAC team. And then when we look at the next 5, I'm going to be upset even more. So me being a Spartan, I want to say first and foremost, behold and don't disrespect the green and gold, because Norfolk State will be there by all means. Coach Odoms, I'm counting on you. But right now, I heard 5 SWAC teams, AD and Brian.
What's
not? Go ahead.
But you act like we were the only 2 people who voted in this.
I understand
this is a cross section of all media, which goes to the respect of the SWAC.
It's a 12-conference league now.
Lack of respect for that Northeast corridor. That's basketball country. That's not football country, Trevor.
What's not football country?
Let's just say
DC.
Go back to put that back up there.
Virginia, Delaware. That's basketball country.
What? I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. So 10 through 6 is all SWAC. So that's half of the matter of fact, Brian, it's a good point that you just made. It's a 12-team conference now. So half of the conference is already in the top 10.
Can you put the graphic back up for a second, Drew? I want to point out at least no one can say that what happened in the spring didn't matter. You know, Jackson State beat Grambling, Southern beat Jackson State, Arkansas Pine Bluff beat Southern. I think, you know, it's kind of fitting the way you have 6 through 9, and then Bethune didn't play. So you know, so nobody from
Norfolk didn't play.
And Norfolk didn't play, exactly. So no one can complain, at least in that perspective of those teams in 6 through 10. And again, preseason, folks. So let that wash over you for a second.
Really? That's what you're gonna give me? It's preseason, folks. Let that wash over you. Like, Trev, it's not that serious. So just leave it alone. Is that what you're giving me right now? That's what you're telling me.
I voted for Norfolk State in the top 10. I don't know who I have much more respect for Norfolk State than a lot of people.
Well, that makes one of you, because I did not.
Yeah. And I'm one of the people that are actually high on Norfolk State with an opportunity to beat Toledo in week 1. So
so I'm not crying the blues now. The Spartans are gonna get their respect without question. I feel you there. My thing is, I'm just not seeing any East Coast love over here. All right, I'll wait. I'll shut up.
But think about this. There are how many? We're down to 20. Well, we have 21 Division I teams, right? 21 Division I teams. So with 12 of those in the SWAC now, it just, the quality and the level of competition, the hype right now surrounding the SWAC, it's not surprising to see what we see in the polls. It's just not, and a lot of that is based on names, be honest. I mean, Grambling getting in probably has a lot to do with name factor. And the coach, I think Coach Fobbs, a lot of people really respect. I'm one of those people that think this will be a turnaround season from the spring for Grambling. But we'll wait to see how it shakes out.
And I will also say,
hold that thought, Trevor.
Go ahead, AD.
I want to tease something out before you give that thought. let us know who you think the number one is going to be. Will it be A&T? Will it be A&M? Will it be Alcorn? Before we get into these top 5, let us know who the people think is going to be the number one by the media by the Media Association. Go ahead with that thought, Trevor.
So what I will say is that, yes, if Bethune-Cookman was still in the MEAC, you would see some East Coast love there. Bethune-Cookman did move over to the SWAC, and they are at number 10. So I understand that. But I'm just looking at this, and I'm seeing all, SWAC. No disrespect to the SWAC. I think it's going to be an exciting conference, and kudos on what the conference has done. I'm just, being a Spartan, I'm putting, stepping in there and saying, hey, I'm not seeing any East Coast love right now.
Hey, before we jump into this top 5, Fred Whitted says, in the absence of Winston State Rams, this is a pretty good poll going back to our mid-major poll. Savannah State should be tough because they should return a large number of good players from their 1AA days. If FCS for all you new blood out there. None of them SWAC. None of them won SWAC, and only one played for the SWAC crown. That's what he says about the SWAC bias.
But you know what?
Appreciate that, Fred.
If I can too. Okay, Brian and AD. Arkansas Pine Bluff is picked to finish 5th in the SWAC West. Bethune-Cookman's picked to finish 5th in the SWAC East.
Yeah.
So, Brian, if you're telling me that there's a 12-team conference and the top, and you're picked to finish 5th, and you're in the top 10?
Well, look, unfortunately, the cabal of the SWAC voters, we don't know who those voters are. No one will claim themselves as a SWAC voter. We asked around at Media Day. Nobody will claim that they are a SWAC voter because they're embarrassed about the fact that they ranked UAPB 5th and Bethune 5th. And I'm telling you what, those two teams are going to cause havoc for a lot of people this year.
Most definitely.
Because those two teams probably deserve to be higher ranked than they are. So, let's just, you watch and see how it turns out. But the cabal of the voters over there, and the SWAC cabal is what I call them. You just don't know who they are. They just, they just vote. And then no one ever claims that they're a voter. Never met a voter yet.
I'm quite sure Coach Sims and the Wildcats are definitely going to have something to say. So, yep. Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, Drew, let's go. Let's shake up the room and let's shock the world and let's hear about who this top 5 is, because I'm real interested to see where people went. I know, we gave ours yesterday.
Montre Bennett on Facebook has FAMU 1 and A&T 2. So let's see how right Montre is.
I will say this. It'll be interesting, though, because of the fact that there's only one team that's ranked in the top 25 nationally, right? There's only one team ranked in the top 25 in Division II nationally, and that team was ranked, number 1 in our poll. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this poll. Will the only ranked team stand up, or did somebody, did the votes come in another way? Because honestly, you talk about everyone has a poll. Every poll that I've heard so far has a certain team at number 1. So that's why I'm curious to see what's going to happen here.
Well, I tell you what, Brian, that's gonna be a great tease. We gonna hold that. We gonna take this last break.
Not for the break.
We gonna take this last break. And then we'll come back and we announce the top 5 in the major poll. You're watching Knights of the Roundtable right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Football bands and one of the best fan experiences in the country. The Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff returns to Atlanta on August 28th along with special guest, College Game Day. Then Alcorn State takes on North Carolina Central with conference bragging rights on the line. Center Park Stadium is the place to be on August 28th. Come tailgate all day before enjoying a primetime matchup on the gridiron. You don't want to miss this. Check out MEACSWACChallenge.com for more information.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime! Get ready for Cracker Barrel National Battle of the Bands, presented by Pepsi Pepsi Zero Sugar. Sunday, August 29th, 4 o'clock, NRG Stadium in Houston. Featuring the hottest HBCU marching bands. Southern University, Langston University, Tennessee State, Norfolk State, North Carolina A&T State, Texas Southern, Bethune-Cookman, and Jackson State. Don't miss the battle on the field and the stands with scholarships. Over $500,000 in counting for our HBCUs. It's an HBCU experience you don't want to miss. With a weekend of activities with the Cracker Barrel Step and Stroll, Pepsi Zero Sugar Emerging Experience, Esports Masterclass and Gaming Tournament, and the free Pepsi Zero Sugar College and Health Fair. Tickets start at just $15. Get them right now at nationalbattleofthebands.com. It's the Cracker Barrel National Battle of the Bands. Sunday, August 29th, NRG Stadium, Houston. Gates open up at 2:30. Also sponsored by Cricket and HEB. nationalbattleofthebands.com. Get your tickets right now.
Can I get the now bar, please? $1. Have a good one. Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
You got it.
We're back. Knights of the Roundtable. We have just revealed teams numbers 6 through 10 in our major poll. Now it's time for us to reveal our top 5. All right, y'all. Coming in at number 5. Bulldogs. Which one of them? We got 2 Bulldogs still out there. All right, y'all. It's South Carolina State Bulldogs. They come in at 8-3 in the 2019 season. They were 2-1 this spring. Number 4, the Braves of Alcorn State. They did not play this spring. They were 9-3 in 2019, 6-1 in conference. Number 3. Let me hear it, Brian. Strike, and strike again. The Rattlers of Florida A&M University come in. Did not play this spring. They were 9-2 in 2019, 71, and were the Black College Sports Network's national champions in 2019. Number 2 is Alabama A&M University. They were 5-0 this spring. They were 75 in 2019, 4-3, and are the defending Black College national champions.
Wow.
And at number 1 are the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. Did not play this spring. Came in from 2019. They were 9-3, 6-2 in conference, and are the defending Celebration Bowl champions. You notice how we got all the champions there back to back to back in the top 3?
Well, that's how it should be. But wow, that is amazing to see. Because again, I don't think I've seen a poll yet that has had North Carolina A&T ranked number 1. I mean, they've been in the top 3 or 4 among HBCU this level. So I mean, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Trevin. If you've seen A&T ranked number 1, I haven't.
I haven't seen them ranked number 1, but they are the highest ranked HBCU in the Stats FCS poll.
Well, exactly. They're the only 25. They're ranked number 25 in the top 25. They're the only one. So that's why, it's kind of interesting. Like I teased, Bowie was ranked number 1 in the mid-major, and they were ranked 18th in the D2 polls. North Carolina A&T is ranked number 1 here in the major division. They're the only top team. Look at the voting counts, though. I mean, even, and this is where, people will nitpick, I'm sure. Alabama A&M has more first place votes, but in terms of points, A&T has 1 more point. So I mean, really, we're picking over a fine-tooth comb here. The difference between A&T and A&M in our poll. So yeah, it's that close. Interesting.
Go ahead,
It's
Trevor.
preseason, Brian. It's preseason. But I actually could see A&T at number one. They're the defending champion over the last full regular season that we've saw in or witnessed in Black college football. I know Coach Connell Maynard will have something to say about that because he was a champion last spring. But again, in order to be the champion, you got to beat the champion. That's the way I always put it out there. So I think that North Carolina A&T, just me personally, they deserve to be the number one team. And it's going to be interesting to see what Coach Sam Washington does at the quarterback spot. But he does have a young man by the name of Ja-Maine Martin. I know Akil is at A&M, and Akil is an awesome quarterback. Phenomenal player. So just between those two teams, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I mean, you're right, Brian. I have not seen any other polls that had them at number one, but I'm not upset that they're number one here.
Coming back though, that's what's amazing, that it's so close. A&M has so many returners coming
plethora,
back.
definitely.
And then A&T really, we don't even know who their quarterback is for.
Right.
We know about Martin, but
Yeah, you also have Corey Banks too, who's a wide receiver, is going to be interesting. I think people should pay attention. I think the key for Coach Washington is going to be that quarterback spot. Coach Maynard, being a quarterback himself, he already got his quarterback who is doing his thing. And I know that young brother, Mr. Glass, is going to be bringing tears to a lot of opponents' eyes this season because, he's a phenomenal quarterback. So I'll give him that. But then I don't want to count out FAMU either. It's just that I think that they need a quarterback. It's going to be interesting to see. They have a running back, Mr. Bonnet Bishop, I believe. Bishop Bonnet, I think I got his name backwards, who's going to be interesting. But again, A&T at number one, I'm not upset with that.
I'll just look at something while we had this graphic up. Let's take teams 1 through 4. First of all, 1 and 2, very close as far as number of points. 3 and 4, pretty close when it comes to points. Alcorn has not lost their championship on the field yet because they did not play in the spring. FAMU really won the BAC in 2019, record-wise, has not lost their championship on the field. Alabama A&M, the defending national champion, defending SWAC champion, North Carolina A&T, has not lost their championship on the field. They are the defending Celebration Bowl champion. So I find it interesting that the top 4 teams really have not been beaten for their crown. Other teams have earned the crown, but they have not been beaten to lose their crown.
I mean, brother, look at the coaches. You're looking at Coach Sam Washington. You're looking at Coach Connell Maynard, looking at Coach Willie Simmons and Coach Fred McNair. I mean, that's phenomenal coaching too. So, I mean, yeah, by all means, I'm not mad that those 4 teams are in the top 4. I mean, you're looking at quarterbacks, with Alcorn State. I believe Felix is coming back, Felix Harper. I mean, it's going to be some interesting football this year. So I think our poll is definitely going to change a lot. That's why you got to tune in every week. You got to keep up with my man AD and the Knights of the Roundtable here, HBCU-Pro Sports Media Association, because I think that you're going to see a lot of exciting information. You're going to see things change. But yeah, AD, to answer your question, I mean, look at the coaching that you're looking at. Look at the talent on those teams. I mean, are you upset with the top 4?
No, I'm definitely not upset with the top 4. I'm definitely not upset with the top 4. All right, we get ready to pick up this show and get out of here, fellas. Trevin, final thoughts.
I'm loving it. I'm loving what you're doing with the HBCU-Pro Sports Media Association Knights of the Roundtable. The HBCU-Pro Sports Media Association is in existence. If you are someone who covers Black college sports and even covers the athletes who matriculate from Black colleges into the professional ranks, and you do it on a regular basis, you need to get with us without question. And AD, just thank you for the platform. Thank you for the great presentation.
How we hit you up? Quick, get your plugs.
You can just check me out at Ice Code Alpha 06 on Twitter. That's my handle. And check out HBCU Pro Sports Media Association. Check out our website. That way you can catch up with us all.
Brian.
Remind Trevin, remind people again how they can sign up. That was a great plug. but what's the email address or what's the Twitter handle again, or even the website again? One more time.
Yep, great suggestion. HBCU-Pro Sports Media.com is the website. You can go there and there's a membership page. You click on the membership page and you actually can pay through PayPal. It's a $25 membership. And then once you get that information there, we'll be in contact with you. The membership subcommittee reaches out to you, welcomes you, we get you involved, and you'll see we're doing big things, definitely.
And the
great
reason
suggestion, Brian.
Yeah, no, and I wanted to say that because I think with so many folks in so many places, it's important that we connect. It's important that we come together as a group of different entities. Yes, everybody's doing their own thing, and that's great. The more coverage, the better, I say. A rising tide lifts all boats. So the more we come together as a group and continue to tell stories, there are a lot of stories, a lot of athletes, a lot of coaches that deserve coverage, that need coverage. And no one's going to tell our stories like us. So that's why this organization is here to support one another, to bring us all together. And look, whether it's photographers, videographers, editors, content creators, designers, on-air camera people,
sports information directors,
sports information, we want it all. Anybody, like Trevin said, who covers media, covers an HBCU, it's time to connect. It's time to come together. Join, be a part of the HBCU-Pro Sports Media Association. That's my only plug I got, Drew.
I just want to thank y'all for letting me come to your iPad, your laptop, your cell phone, your tablet, whatever media device you are. Thank you for tuning in. Not only supporting the Black College Sports Network and me and my partner Brian on the BCSN SportsWrap, but supporting all of Black media. You know, go out, like, share, subscribe, not only to us, not only HBCU Pro Sports Media, but to any Black media that's positive. Please like, share, and subscribe, because that's how they need likes, they need clicks, so they can get paid. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm the economist. We need to get paid. They need to get paid. The only reason we get paid if you like, if you share, if you subscribe. So that's my plug. We're out of here. We're going to see y'all next week. Make sure you tune in next Monday right here on the Black College Sports Network for more of Knights of the Roundtable.
Can I just 06?